Hello, again, Shadik15 here with the newest episode in the tutorial series for sprite animating, and it's the last one before the big release of Sonic Art Show HD Remix. Hopefully next week it will be released. And in this video I will show you how to use tweens, motion tweens. In fact, there are two types, or even three types if you want to count the other one. And I will essentially try to explain the two major ones. Let's start with the first type of motion tween, the classic tween. Now what a tween essentially is, and I apologize, I don't have the proper definition, but from what I understand it allows you to move a symbol from one place to another, alright? And there are several ways how you can approach this. Now, let's start off with this ball. Alright, it's a shape, so we have to convert it into a symbol. Now, in this case, movie clip and graphic, they both work with the classic tween, so you don't need to worry about that. I will convert it into a graphic. I'm just gonna call it a green disc, whatever. And now, as usual, we have a symbol, a graphic, and what the motion tween, or in this case, the classic tween is, it allows you to select one frame and then another one in which you have to insert a keyframe. So what you do is you place your symbol on the first frame where you want it to be. Then you select another frame, let's say at frame 60. So I'm going to insert a keyframe. Now that's important. You have to insert a keyframe. It must be a keyframe. Can't be just another frame. It has to be a keyframe. All right. And then you see you have this many frames between, nothing happens, alright? So you, on this new keyframe, you want to place your symbol to another place. You want it to place there where it should end up. Alright, so let's say we want it right here. So very, very straight path. And now to create the tween, you just right click on the frames that are in between. And there are two options. Now, create motion tween, which will I explain in the second part of the video. But for now, we will focus on the classic tween. So create a classic tween, and now Flash automatically filled in all the frames and created a motion of the symbol, a sort of a movement of the symbol. So you can see it moves on its own. Now, isn't this useful? You can play the Flash file, and you see it will move from frame 1 to frame 60 on this straight path. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that's the classic tween. Of course, there's more to the classic tween than just that. You have several options. Now, let's click on the classic tween. Just click it once, left click. And then, now let's forget about label, because that's related to ActionScript. Now, tweening is very interesting. And let's click off sound, because that again is for another day. But tweening is very important, and what is really essential, especially for fluid animation, is the ease. Now, this is a bit difficult to explain, but this is the sort of the pace of the animation, but it's not a constant pace. You can actually change the pacing along the motion tween. Let's say right now it's ease 0. That means the ball is moving with the same speed or the same pace from frame 1 to frame 60. It has the same pace, and it doesn't change. Now we can change that though, and all you need to do is, let's say, insert a value. Let's say we want to have 50 ease. Now you can go up to 100, and what that actually does is you will have a higher acceleration at the beginning, and it will slow down towards the end. So it looks now like this. Alright, you see it slows down towards the end. It becomes a little bit slower. While in the beginning it becomes it's a bit quicker. Now we can go up to 100 and you will see a significant difference. There we go. It moves much faster in the beginning. Now you can of course do the other way around and insert -100. In that case it will go very slow in the beginning, but then speed up towards the end. And there we go. And that's great, okay? That's very important when you want to create fluid movements that are, because when you have a character that is running, usually he starts slow and then becomes faster. So it's very important that you are able to use this feature. Now, if you want to be very precise, you can actually go to you click on this symbol, which is edit easing. And there you can see, now I've inserted -100, so it becomes very slow here on this graph, and it becomes a bit faster. Now let's say you want a motion tween or a classic tween that moves slow at beginning, becomes faster progressively, but then it becomes again slower towards the end. In that case, you can actually change this graph. Now just click on these black squares, and you can move around. You can actually change the shape of the motion of the tween, so to speak. So let's say I want it to be slow at the end. I just have to form this line. I'm sorry for the voice crack there. Alright, so it will begin slow, become a little bit faster, and then slow down again towards the end. Let's click on OK and see how it looks. Slow, fast, and then slow again. You see? That's how it works. And there we go. You can, of course, exaggerate and create something like, I don't know, let's go very fast at the beginning and slow down dramatically. Something like this, and you will create this kind of classic tween. There we go. That's just an example of easing the classic tween. What is also important for tweening is the rotate option, but we've got a little problem because this is a disk. So whenever it rotates around its own center, we will see no change. So let's forget about the ball or the disk, and I will now add a square. There we go, on a different layer, because you can't have multiple symbols for one tween. It's also important to note. Okay, so we've got this square, and it's going to move also in that direction. There we go. I just created the classic tween in a classical way. Anyways, so to rotate, you can, for instance, just click on the second position and then just rotate it on its own. Like, let's rotate it by, I don't know, 45 degrees, like this. Right? Now there we go. The classic tween automatically creates a rotation of this symbol. Now this is when you select auto. This is the first thing that the Flash selects, auto rotating. Now, let's say we don't want that. We want it to rotate several times, alright? Then we just need to select the classic tween and then rotate either clockwise or counterclockwise. Now, I guess that's self-explanatory. You click clockwise and then it turns 1 time, or it turns 2 times, 3, you get the point, alright? Let's say we want it to turn 2 times, and it will turn 2 times. It looks like a lot. It looks like it turns 10 times, but believe me, it just rotated 2 times. There we go. And in the same way, you can apply, the ease will also apply to the rotation. So let's say we have 100 ease, and it will rotate much faster in the beginning and slow down towards the end. There we go. So that's rotation. And I can also go the other way around, counterclockwise. Woo! So it's very easy, and rotating is very important. Also very important for classic tween. Now, a little detail when it comes to rotating is you gotta ask yourself how it rotates, because when you select the symbol, you can see there's this white dot. It's right in the middle of the symbol, and that essentially means that whenever it rotates, it will rotate around this point. This is the reference point. Now you can change the position of that point. Let's say we want it to be right here. Okay, so what's gonna happen while rotating? It will rotate around this point and it will look like this. Woo! There you go. So you see, it's very important to note where that point is. Alright? You can create a rotation, but if your point is right over there, you will create something completely nuts. So you gotta watch out where your reference point is, and I lost it already. Ah, there it is. And place it where it should be. Okay, so that's it for rotating with classic tween. Now I think there are several other options which I haven't really used until now. I will look into it someday and I will explain it maybe in another video. But for now, that's it for the classic tween. And let's move on with the other type of motion tween. The other tween is quite different, and I must say I don't know everything about it probably, but I will show you how I use it. Alright, So you select your symbol. In this case, I will focus on the square only. And let's say I wanted to move to frame 60 again. But in this case, I will not insert a keyframe. I will insert a blank keyframe. Now this will create a keyframe which is emptied, so there's no symbol right there. Alright, that's how I start doing the Motion Tween. So this one is called just Motion Tween. There are some people who call the classic Tween Motion Tween, and I don't know. So I just stick with this how they name it. So it's a Motion Tween. So let's create a Motion Tween, and it will create this blue whatever. And what you can now do is, in fact, you can move your square to the position you want. So again, on the other side, and it will create a literal path which represents the motion. All right. So again, it moves perfectly from one point to the other one. Okay. So what does the Motion Tween have over the classic Tween? Because I personally prefer this type of Motion Tween. Well, the thing is this path, you can interact with it. You can actually click on it, left. You gotta use your selection tool, and then you can, whenever you see this curve symbol, you can click on it and then change the curvature or the curve, or you can alter the path. So it will travel along the path. But if it is like curved like this, the motion will follow this path. So you can create this sort of animation. And that's something that the classic Tween can't really do on its own. You can't really create, with one classic Tween, you can't create this type of movement. And that's why I do like the Motion Tween, because I personally use this very often. The fact that I have to change that I have really to create a curvated path, and that's very important to me, at least. Now again, there are certain things you can change about this. You can change the ease. So let's say we wanted to travel a lot faster in the beginning. Woo! There we go. You can, of course, make rotation, and in this case, the rotation options are a little bit different. You can make it rotate, let's say, 2 times, but you can also be a little bit more precise and add, let's say we wanted to rotate 2 times or twice, and also like 180 degrees on top of it. So it will move 2.5 times, so to speak. Woo! There we go. And of course, you can change if it is clockwise or counterclockwise. What else is there? What I also like is the fact that when you apply a Motion Tween, let's say you have frame 1 and frame 60, it moves to this point. But let's say we wanted the path to be a bit more complicated with some angles, and you can actually just go ahead and select another frame in the Motion Tween, and then just place the symbol wherever you want. Like this. So this will break down the path, and also let's say we do something like this. Alright, it looks weird, but then again you can again change the curvature of the path, and you will get this crazy looking path. There we go. And so the symbol will move like this now. Of course you need to make some adjustments so that it looks a little bit more fluent, but essentially there's so many things you can do with Motion Tween. Now there are 2 other options which I don't really use all that much. Now path, that actually is, you can change where the path is and how large or how small it is. So that you can of course do on your own. You don't need that. You don't really need that. And what this does, I don't know, I've never used it. I will explain it maybe in the later video. The last very important thing about Motion Tween, and I always use it. You see, this is sort of the, I don't know, the precursor of the animation to me. This blue thing. You can actually just go ahead, click on it. You can of course remove the tween, but why you want to do that? You can save it as a motion preset. I've never used it, but if you want, it just saves it as a template or something like this. But what is very important to me is to convert the whole Motion Tween into a frame-by-frame animation. Just click on it, and what it will do, it will remove the path, but the whole motion tween is now broken down into frames, right? So you can actually just go ahead, select a frame, and do whatever changes you want to do on that frame alone. And believe me when I say this, that is awesome. I always am happy to use that, because it really isn't, but sometimes you can't create the motion that you want with the motion tween. Sometimes it doesn't just work out, so you need to make little adjustments. And this is just perfect to create the perfect motion tween. So you don't need to do this. I'm not saying you have to create a frame-by-frame animation. You don't need to do it, but I highly recommend it, especially when working with sprites. And that's now the last part of the video. I'm going to use Motion Tween and also maybe Classic Tween to create a simple sprite animation. Alright, I will keep this short. I will just show you a simple motion tween of a sprite with the background and the foreground, alright? Technically you should be able to create your own scene, so I will fast forward and I will meet you much later. There we go. So I've got the background and the foreground, and we've got our little Sonic here, who is a graphic. Now, you should remember, sorry for that, you should remember from last time, this is a graphic, it contains the walking animation. So I'm gonna just stick with graphic because I prefer that. So what I've showed you today is how to apply a motion tween to make something move. Now, since Sonic is moving on, like, right there on the spot, what I now can do is use the motion tween and the fact that this is an animated sprite and make it look like Sonic is walking. Alright, let's say we want him to move from here to, let's say, right over there, okay? So I will start off with the classic tween. Create a keyframe, change the position on that keyframe, and create the classic tween. And there we go, Sonic is moving very fast. So let's make this a little bit longer, so it will look a little bit slower. Alright, still very fast. Let's make it 80 frames. And there we go, Sonic is walking from one place to another. Very, very, very easy. Now, I usually always go to tweening and then I change the ease. Now, what I like about classic tween, and this is not the case for motion tween, you have this option, the custom ease in and ease out. So this, you don't have this option when creating the motion tween. So there you go. This is again, it's like movie clip and graphic. There are advantages and disadvantages. So I always try to use classic tween and motion tween both, and whenever I need a better ease in, ease out option, I use the classic tween, and when I need better path modification, I use the motion tween. Alright, so let's remove this tween and we'll do the same with the motion tween. And again here I can create the tween very simply. There we go. And as you can see, I can make ease in, ease out, but I can't really change it all that much. I just can use I just can change the easing value, but I can't really create complex ease. It's difficult to explain, but it's not as thorough as the classic tween. There we go, and as usual, I convert it to a frame-by-frame animation, and now you can go ahead and change certain position. Now let's say I want Sonic to, I don't know, to stretch out during the animation, during the motion tween. I just can't do that now. I can change him during the tween, and that's very, very important, very essential, at least to me. I use it all the time. So there you go, he's doing a little head bump there in the middle. So there you go. So that's motion tween in Adobe Flash. I think this video has gone for very long, so I will stop now. And I thank you very much for watching. The next video, I'm not sure what it's going to be about. I think I will show you how to make more complex motion tweens with sprites. I will show you how I create, like whenever Sonic goes into a loop, or how he mounts hills and such. So there are some complex animations and motions that I want to show off maybe in the next video. I will think about that. And I will see you then. Sorry for my English, it's, I don't know, it's not very top notch today. Sorry for my voice, I'm a bit sick, I think. I'm about to get sick. Anyways, so see you in the next video. Have fun, take care.